Hi guys, and welcome to a new episode on this channel. Today we will be talking about this book called Who Was Charles Darwin. Let's get started. Now, who was Charles Darwin? Now, just to get into you on the track, Charles Darwin was born Robert Charles Darwin in a very wealthy family. Their house was called the Darwin House. Charles Darwin was sent to boarding school at age 9. He hated it, so he had to run away from the school a lot of times, where he was literally everything. He hated it. Yeah. He literally hated it. And his experiments were said to be useless by his teachers. But then they were so wrong. He went to Cambridge University and he graduated 10th out of like 300 people in a class. His father first sent him to medical school, but all those anatomy and, boring anatomy lectures and the blood were not his cup of tea. Then he was sent out onto the HMS Beagle, where he said, "Yeah, I could be a good companion to the captain." But he got seasick a lot. However, he had some good sides too. It was a free job for him to become a companion on the ship, and he could do some specimens and do more science and nature that he always loved to do. One day, he found some skulls. He was like, "Hey, this looks like armadillos." He put them up, and then he found some finches. He witnessed a volcanic eruption. Then found some finches on the Galapagos Islands, which looked like South African finches. And then it reminded him of the armadillo bones like we saw earlier. So he said there was an evolution doing. Charles Darwin went back to his home after all of that. He married his cousin, who said yes at the first try. They got a daughter called Anne. And then he started writing a manuscript. He started writing a paper which was about evolution. And then he also talked about barnacles. He had 10 children in total. 3 of them died in infancy. And then there was another person, Alfred Wallace, who found out about evolution too. Now, first they decided to write a joint letter together, and that will be put into a scientific meeting. The scientific meeting was Alfred Wallace and Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin could not attend because of his stomach problems, because of the HMS Beagle, and Alfred Wallace could not attend because he was living literally halfway across the world. Whoa. He then started writing his manuscript for his book called The Origins of Species of Natural Selection. He also observed some ants. He even paid a shilling for a very poor man to help look with him. Everybody's like, why is the gentleman looking at some ants like a very stupid kid? And literally, he published The Origins of Species, and everybody was outraged. They thought that Charles Darwin was wrong. Some of them thought that Charles Darwin was right, even so if they will turn down the upside-down beliefs that they used to believe. The Origin of Species was debated in a lot of meetings. Then he wrote this next book, The Descent of Man, which is right here, Descent of Man. Then he died. And was buried in Westminster Abbey, which is the greatest honor for Charles Darwin. Now, I want to say that this book here, it literally talks a lot about Charles Darwin here. Now, Charles Darwin might be one of my favorite scientists of all time, and I literally sometimes mistaking his picture for Mark Twain. Yes, literally. Because they kind of look alike to me. And Charles Darwin is the guy, like, the father of biology, modern biology. And he was the guy who made evolution happen. Evolution! Yeah, literally evolution. He might have gone through the world for about 5 years, and it was literally 300 years where the voyage was started right after Magellan literally transcontinented the world in 15,000s. And literally, I want to say here, Charles Darwin is literally, really the father of modern biology and his own children. He is really the genius of all time. If he ever lived more, he like 500 years old, he might have even become a supercomputer and became the greatest scientist of all time. If he was still alive, that is. Yeah. Charles Darwin, if he had seen what we found out in today's modern biology, like cells, DNA, all that stuff, he would have been surprised. Mendeleev, the person of the chemistry of the periodic table, would be absolutely furious about it, so yes. And that's exactly what I want to say here. Charles Darwin is one of the greatest biologists of all time, and his scientific career and origin of species, all of his work is still very worked clearly today. Some of them are in some museums, and he might be one of the greatest idols of a lot of biologists. And that might be true. I even idolize him myself. And that's where I want to ask you the question that will end this video. What do you think of Charles Darwin? Is he really the father of modern biology, or is he just an ordinary scientist who says that he's not a genius, but he is a genius? Write your answers in the comments below. I want to hear your opinions, guys. Now, once you type that down, I'll see you in the next episode. Shinhan out. Peace!